Security escorted this man out immediately. He clearly doesn't belong here. Damon Washington approaches the pristine marble reception desk of the Grand View Imperial Hotel, his worn jeans and simple black t-shirt drawing immediate scrutiny from manager Victoria Sterling. The crystal chandeliers cast golden light across her disgusted expression as she sizes him up. Dark skin, casual clothes, confident posture that doesn't match her assumptions about who deserves luxury. "Excuse me, sir, this is a private establishment," Victoria announces, her voice dripping false politeness. The lobby's other guests, all white, all wealthy, turn to witness the spectacle she's orchestrating. Damon maintains perfect composure. "Good evening. I have a reservation under Washington Hospitality Group." Victoria doesn't even glance at her computer. "I highly doubt that." She signals security with theatrical authority, ensuring maximum visibility for her performance. "We maintain certain standards here." Two guards approach as wealthy guests murmur approval of Victoria's protection of their exclusive space. The humiliation unfolds publicly, deliberately, cruelly, exactly as Victoria intended. What would you do if this happened to you? Drop your country flag in the comments. But Damon isn't who they think he is, and their world is about to crumble. Damon arrives via rideshare instead of his usual Tesla, dressed deliberately casual after a long flight from Silicon Valley. He's the 34-year-old CEO of Washington Hospitality Group, worth $2.8 billion. But today he's conducting an undercover assessment of his newest acquisition, a hotel chain he purchased just 48 hours ago through intermediary firms. The Grand View Imperial represents everything wrong with luxury hospitality. Beautiful facade hiding systemic discrimination. Damon has heard whispers about their selective service and wants first-hand proof before implementing reforms. Victoria Sterling, 45, has managed this location for 12 years. She's built her reputation on maintaining exclusivity, code for keeping out anyone who doesn't fit her narrow vision of wealth. Her assistant manager, Ryan Chen, 28, watches nervously as Victoria's prejudices surface. Damon approaches the reception desk with quiet confidence, his Stanford MBA and military bearing evident despite casual clothes. "Good evening. I have a reservation under Washington Group." Victoria doesn't even glance at her computer. Her eyes scan his attire, quality but understated jeans, a plain black t-shirt, worn leather jacket. "I'm sorry, but I think there's been some confusion," she says, voice saccharine with false politeness. "This establishment requires a certain caliber of clientele." Her emphasis makes her meaning crystal clear. Other guests, elderly white couples, young tech bros, society wives, turn to watch the spectacle. Victoria's voice rises intentionally. "Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at the Holiday Inn down the street?" Damon remains calm, pulling out his phone. "Could you please check your system? The reservation should be there." Victoria's laugh is sharp and cutting. "Sir, I don't need to check anything. I can see with my own eyes that you don't belong here." The lobby falls silent. Even the staff behind the desk look uncomfortable, but none intervene. Victoria continues her performance for her audience. "We have a dress code, standards to maintain. Surely you understand." Damon feels the familiar burn of racism disguised as policy, but his expression never changes. He's collected evidence in dozens of situations like this, boardrooms, restaurants, country clubs, but tonight feels different, more personal. Victoria has no idea she's just insulted the man who now owns her entire world. Damon tries a different approach, speaking slowly and clearly. "Ma'am, I'm Damon Washington. My company made this reservation 3 days ago. Could you please just check?" He maintains perfect politeness, knowing any show of anger will be weaponized against him. Victoria's eyes narrow. "Washington? That's not possible. That's—" She pauses, recognizing the name from somewhere but dismissing the connection. "Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but impersonating guests is illegal." She signals to Ryan, who reluctantly approaches. "Call security," she orders. Ryan hesitates. Something about Damon's composed demeanor suggests this isn't a typical situation. Victoria, maybe we should just— Did I stutter? Victoria snaps. This person is trying to scam his way into our hotel. Look at him. She gestures dismissively at Damon's clothes. Does he look like he belongs in a $2,000 per night suite? The gathered crowd murmurs agreement. A woman in pearls stage whispers, How did he even get past the doorman? An older man nods approvingly at Victoria's decisive action. Damon reaches for his wallet, extracting a black American Express Centurion card, the invitation-only card with no spending limit. Perhaps this will help verify my identity. Victoria barely glances at it. Anyone can get a fake credit card these days. Security arrives, two large white men in crisp uniforms. Damon recognizes the type. Former military, probably decent guys following orders from a racist manager. He doesn't resist as they flank him. Gentlemen, Damon says quietly, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I'm a guest here. The lead security officer, Jake Morrison, looks uncertain. He's worked hotels long enough to spot real trouble, and this isn't it. Victoria's voice rises triumphantly. He's trespassing. Remove him immediately. She's playing to her audience now, the concerned white patrons nodding their approval of her protection of their exclusive space. Jake glances between Damon's calm dignity and Victoria's theatrical outrage. His instincts scream something's wrong, but Victoria is his boss. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, he says apologetically. Damon nods slowly, making mental notes of every face, every reaction, every word. I understand you're doing your job. His tone holds no anger, only disappointment. As they escort him toward the exit, Damon makes a phone call that will change everything. The walk to the exit becomes a parade of shame orchestrated by Victoria. Instead of discreetly resolving the situation, she ensures maximum visibility, her voice carrying across the marble lobby. This is exactly why we have security protocols. You never know who might try to infiltrate our establishment. Other guests pull out phones, some recording, others stepping aside as if Damon might contaminate them. A young white woman clutches her purse tighter. An elderly man mutters about people knowing their place. The humiliation is designed to be public, brutal, and complete. Victoria follows the procession, continuing her commentary. We've had problems before with people trying to scam their way into luxury accommodations. They think if they dress up and act the part. She doesn't finish the sentence, but her meaning hangs in the air like poison. Jake Morrison, the lead security officer, grows increasingly uncomfortable. His earpiece crackles with updates from other staff. Several have quietly looked up the Washington group reservation and found it legitimate. Ma'am, he whispers to Victoria, maybe we should double-check. Are you questioning my judgment? Victoria hisses back. That man is a fraud, and I won't have him disrupting our guests' experience. Damon walks with quiet dignity, his hands visible, movements deliberate and non-threatening. He's been through this before. The weaponization of his presence, the way his mere existence becomes a security threat in white spaces. But tonight cuts deeper, because this hotel now belongs to him. As they near the revolving glass doors, Victoria delivers her coup de grace. Sir, you're now banned from this establishment. If you return, you'll be arrested for trespassing. She announces this loudly enough for the entire lobby to hear, her voice ringing with self-righteous authority. A young black couple in the corner, both dressed immaculately in designer clothes, watch with recognition and shared trauma. The woman grabs her partner's hand, remembering their own experiences with selective service. They're guests here, but suddenly feel unsafe, wondering if they're next. Damon pauses at the threshold, turning back one final time. His eyes sweep the lobby, taking in every detail. The staff's uncomfortable faces, the guests' mix of embarrassment and approval, Victoria's triumphant smirk. When he speaks, his voice is quiet but carries perfectly in the marble acoustics. I want everyone here to remember this moment. Remember how it felt to watch. Remember what you chose to do or not do. His gaze settles on Victoria. Because choices have consequences. Victoria laughs, but it sounds slightly nervous now. Is that a threat? Damon shakes his head slowly. It's a promise. The doors revolve, and Damon steps into the night air. Behind him, Victoria basks in the approval of her guests, accepting their congratulations on handling the situation so professionally. Ryan Chen stands frozen, his phone in his hand showing the Washington Group reservation, confirmed, legitimate, with a note about the CEO conducting a property assessment. Outside on the sidewalk, Damon pulls out his phone and dials a number that will destroy Victoria's world in minutes. Damon stands in the cool night air, the hotel's golden glow spilling onto the sidewalk behind him. The humiliation burns, but beneath the personal pain lies something deeper. The recognition that Victoria's racism isn't an isolated incident. It's systemic, protected, rewarded by an industry that profits from exclusion. He pulls out his phone, not to call lawyers or PR teams, but to text his assistant, Sarah. Execute Grandview Imperial acquisition announcement immediately. Full staff meeting in 20 minutes. Send termination paperwork for management. Victoria Sterling, effective tonight. While waiting for her response, Damon reflects on the journey that brought him here. Son of a Korean immigrant mother and Black American father, he'd built Washington Hospitality Group from nothing, starting with a single boutique hotel in Oakland. Every expansion was motivated by creating spaces where dignity wasn't determined by skin color. His phone buzzes with updates. Sarah, efficient as always, confirms the acquisition announcement has been sent to all major business networks. Stock prices for the hotel chain are already moving. Board members are scrambling to understand how a private equity firm quietly bought controlling interest in their company. Damon's second call goes to his head of HR, Jennifer Martinez. I need you to review the employment files for Grandview Imperial's management staff. Look for patterns, complaints, settlements, staff turnover among minority employees. I suspect tonight wasn't an isolated incident. Through the glass doors, he can see the lobby still buzzing with conversation about his ejection. Victoria holds court near the reception desk, likely spinning the story into an even more heroic version of protecting white comfort. She has no idea that the business networks are about to explode with news of the acquisition. His third call surprises even him, to his therapist, Dr. Angela Washington. I need to process something that happened tonight. The plan worked, but I'm feeling things I didn't expect. Even in his moment of approaching triumph, Damon recognizes the psychological toll of deliberately subjecting himself to racism for evidence. Sarah texts updates in real time. CNN picking up the acquisition story. Your previous interviews about hospitality discrimination are trending. Black CEO Justice starting to hashtag on Twitter. Damon allows himself one moment of private satisfaction, not for revenge, but for the systemic change this will trigger. Every hotel worker who's been discriminated against, every guest who's faced Victoria's standards, every person who's been made to feel less than in spaces their money should access, tonight begins their vindication. The revolving doors spin as a new guest enters, another young black professional in casual clothes. Damon watches through the glass as the man approaches the reception desk where Victoria still stands, flushed with her recent victory. She sizes up the new arrival with the same predatory assessment she used on Damon. Damon makes a decision. This lesson needs to be immediate and complete. Damon heads back toward the hotel entrance, but this time, everything will be different. Damon re-enters the lobby, but now several phones are buzzing with breaking news notifications. A tech entrepreneur in the corner stares at his screen in disbelief, whispering to his companion, Washington Hospitality Group just announced they acquired this hotel chain. The CEO is Damon Washington. Victoria doesn't notice. She's too busy enjoying her moment, describing her keen instincts to a gathering of admiring guests. You develop a sixth sense about these things. I could tell immediately he was trouble. Jake Morrison approaches her nervously, his phone in hand. Victoria, we need to talk. I just got a call from corporate. She waves him off dismissively. Not now, Jake. Can't you see I'm busy? Damon walks directly to the reception desk, past the same guests who watched his humiliation 20 minutes earlier. This time, several recognize him from the business articles now flooding their feeds. The young tech entrepreneur drops his drink. Excuse me, Damon says politely to Ryan Chen, who's gone pale reading the news on his computer. I believe you have a reservation for Washington Group? Ryan's hands shake as he looks up the reservation, the same one Victoria refused to acknowledge. Yes, sir. The penthouse suite. I tried to tell her. His voice trails off as he realizes the magnitude of what just happened. Victoria finally notices the commotion. She turns from her audience, eyes widening as she sees Damon back in the lobby. What is he doing here? Jake! Security! But Jake Morrison is staring at his own phone, his face ashen. Ma'am, Jake says quietly. He owns the hotel. He owns the whole chain. The silence that follows is deafening. Guests pull out phones frantically, some Googling Damon's name, others filming what they now realize is about to become legendary footage. The young black couple in the corner exchanges meaningful glances. They know exactly what's about to happen. Victoria's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, and dawning horror. That's impossible. He looked like... She can't finish any sentence, her worldview crumbling in real time. Damon reaches into his jacket, the same worn leather jacket Victoria mocked, and pulls out his business cards. I believe we were interrupted during introductions. Victoria's face goes white as she reads the card. Damon Washington, CEO. The lobby transforms into a theater of consequences. Guests who applauded Victoria's discrimination 20 minutes earlier now scramble to distance themselves, deleting videos, pocketing phones, suddenly finding urgent reasons to examine the marble floor. Victoria stares at the business card like it might burst into flames. This is fake. Anyone can print cards. But her voice lacks conviction now, and Ryan Chen's computer screen glows with confirmation. Damon Washington, CEO, Washington Hospitality Group, net worth $2.8 billion. Would you prefer additional verification? Damon asks calmly, pulling out his phone. Within seconds, Sarah patches him through to the hotel's corporate headquarters. The speaker crackles to life with the regional director's voice. Mr. Washington, congratulations on the acquisition. We're honored to have you visit the Grandview Imperial. The blood drains from Victoria's face. Several guests begin edging toward the elevators, desperate to escape what they now recognize as an impending corporate apocalypse. But Damon isn't finished with his lesson. Victoria, he says, using her first name with deliberate familiarity, I'd like you to meet some people. He gestures to his phone, where Sarah has connected a conference call with the hotel chain's board of directors, all scrambling to understand how they lost control of their company. Good evening, everyone, Damon addresses the phone. I'm calling from the lobby of your flagship property, where I've just experienced the most enlightening customer service. Victoria Sterling has shown me exactly why this acquisition was necessary. Board members' voices overlap in confusion and panic. Victoria realizes she's on speaker, being discussed by the most powerful people in hospitality. Her hands shake as she reaches for the phone, but Damon pulls it away gently. No, Victoria. They need to hear this directly from you. Tell them about your standards. Explain your customer screening process. Share your insights about who belongs in luxury hospitality. Jake Morrison steps forward, his security training warring with his growing awareness that he's witnessing corporate history. Sir, should I? Damon shakes his head. Jake, you were following orders. This lesson isn't for you. The young black couple approaches cautiously. The woman speaks quietly. Excuse me, but thank you. This happens more than people know. Damon nods, recognizing kindred spirits who've navigated these waters before. Victoria opens her mouth to defend herself, but Damon's next words will seal her fate forever. Before you speak, Damon says, raising his hand to stop Victoria's defense, I want you to think carefully. Everything you say now is being recorded by security cameras, witnessed by guests, and heard by your former board of directors. Victoria's mouth opens and closes soundlessly. The woman who commanded the lobby with racist authority 20 minutes ago now stands paralyzed by the reality of consequences. Around her, staff members who witnessed her discrimination begin texting frantically, some sending resumes to competitors. Damon continues in the same calm voice he used during his humiliation. I've spent my career studying moments like this. The psychology of power, the comfort of prejudice, the assumption that actions don't have consequences. He pauses, letting the weight settle. You felt safe because you thought I was powerless. The tech entrepreneur who first recognized the news can't resist filming now, knowing this footage will be viral within hours. Other guests check stock prices on their phones. Washington Hospitality Group shares are surging on news of the acquisition, and Damon's reputation for transforming discriminatory businesses. Ryan Chen finally finds his voice. Sir, I tried to tell her to check the reservation. I'm sorry this happened. Damon nods appreciatively. Ryan, right? I noticed your attempts to de-escalate. That shows character. Victoria finally speaks, her voice barely a whisper. I was just maintaining our standards. This is a luxury establishment. We have to be careful about... She trails off, realizing every word deepens her hole. Careful about what, Victoria? Damon asks. Careful about black people? Careful about anyone who doesn't look like your preferred clientele? Please, continue. The board is listening. Jake Morrison's radio crackles with updates from the front desk. Reporters are already calling, having picked up the story from social media. The young black woman from the corner approaches with her phone. Sir, people need to see this. Is it okay if I post this? Damon considers, then nods. Let people see what accountability looks like. He turns back to Victoria. You wanted to make a statement about who belongs in luxury hospitality. Congratulations. You've succeeded beyond your wildest dreams. Victoria's legs buckle slightly. She grabs the reception desk for support, finally understanding that her comfortable world of consequence-free racism has ended. Are you Team Damon or Team Hotel? Let me know below. Damon pulls out a folder he's been carrying, and Victoria's worst nightmare is about to become reality. Damon opens the folder with deliberate ceremony, the same way Victoria had dismissed his reservation 20 minutes earlier. The lobby falls silent except for the soft buzz of phones capturing every moment. Victoria, I want to share something with you and everyone here, Damon begins, his voice carrying the authority he'd hidden behind casual clothes. 3 days ago, Washington Hospitality Group completed the acquisition of Metropolitan Hotel Holdings, your parent company, for $4.2 billion. The number hits the lobby like a physical force. Guests gasp, some grabbing chairs for support. Victoria's face goes gray as the magnitude registers. She didn't just insult a guest. She humiliated her new boss. The richest black hotel owner in America, on his first day. Damon continues, pulling documents from the folder. This wasn't a hostile takeover. Your board approached us because Washington has a reputation for transforming discriminatory hospitality businesses into profitable, inclusive enterprises. He looks directly at Victoria. They knew you had problems. Ryan Chen's computer screen shows the stock surge. Metropolitan Hotel Holdings shares jumping 34% on news of the acquisition. Financial networks are calling it the deal of the decade, with analysts praising Damon's strategy of buying underperforming properties and revolutionizing their culture. I could have announced myself immediately, Damon explains to the riveted audience. But I've learned that true character emerges when people think there are no consequences. He gestures to the cameras. Tonight, the world gets to see who you really are. Victoria tries to speak, but only strangled sounds emerge. The woman who confidently performed racism for an approving audience now faces the terror of accountability. Around her, staff members distance themselves physically, creating a growing circle of isolation. Damon addresses the crowd. How many of you have phones? How many of you recorded what happened here? Multiple hands raise reluctantly. Good. I want you to keep those videos. Share them, because this is what systemic racism looks like in luxury hospitality. He pulls out his own phone, showing his social media accounts, millions of followers who track his work fighting discrimination in business. I've been documenting these experiences for years. Hotels, restaurants, country clubs, boardrooms. But tonight was different. The young black couple steps forward, the woman speaking boldly now. We've experienced this too. Not here, but other places. Thank you for fighting back. Damon nods, recognizing the courage it takes to speak up in a room full of witnesses. Jake Morrison, the security officer, approaches hesitantly. Sir, I need to apologize. I should have questioned the situation more carefully. Damon studies him thoughtfully. Jake, you were in an impossible position. But tell me, what did your instincts say? That something wasn't right, Jake admits. You were too calm, too dignified. Most troublemakers aren't like that. Damon nods approvingly. Trust those instincts. They're based on experience, not prejudice. Victoria finally finds her voice, desperation making her bold. This is entrapment. You deliberately misled us. You can't fire me for... For what, Victoria? Damon interrupts. For doing your job as you understood it? For maintaining your standards? For protecting your guests from people who look like me? His voice remains calm, but steel underlies every word. He turns to address the gathered crowd one final time. Everyone here tonight witnessed something important. You saw how power operates when it thinks it's safe from consequences. Some of you applauded, some of you filmed, some of you said nothing. All of those were choices. The folder contains one more document, Victoria's personnel file, thick with complaints from minority employees and guests. Damon doesn't need to show it. The implication is clear. This wasn't your first time, was it, Victoria? Ryan Chen whispers urgently to a colleague. The reservation system shows 12 complaints about her in the past 6 months, all from minority guests. The whisper carries in the marble acoustics, and Victoria's shoulders slump in defeat. Damon looks around the transformed lobby, at the staff who enabled discrimination through silence, the guests who applauded racism, the security officers who enforced bias. Change starts with accountability, he announces, and accountability starts tonight. Damon opens his phone to make the call that will end Victoria's career forever. Damon's phone call connects him directly to Jennifer Martinez, his head of human resources, who's been monitoring the situation remotely through the hotel's security feeds and social media coverage. The conversation plays through the lobby speakers, ensuring maximum transparency. Jennifer, I need immediate termination paperwork for Victoria Sterling, manager of Grandview Imperial. Effective immediately. Cause? Discrimination, violation of company policy, and conduct detrimental to business operations. His voice carries the weight of executive authority as Victoria staggers backward. Sir, Jennifer's voice crackles through the speaker. I've been reviewing her file during your call. We have documentation of 17 discrimination complaints over the past 18 months. HR at Metropolitan Hotel Holdings buried them, but everything's admissible. The number 17 hits the lobby like a bomb. Staff members exchange horrified glances. They knew about the complaints, but assumed management had resolved them. Victoria's face cycles through panic and rage as she realizes the depth of documentation against her. Damon continues the call publicly. What about settlements? Payouts to silence victims? Jennifer's response makes several guests visibly uncomfortable. At least 6 settlements totaling $340,000, all sealed with NDAs, but we own those agreements now. Jake Morrison steps forward, his security training kicking in as he realizes the legal implications. Sir, should I be documenting this for potential criminal charges? Damon nods approvingly. Jake, yes. File a report about tonight's incident. Victoria denied service based on race while acting as a representative of our company. Victoria finally explodes. This is a setup. You planned this. You can't destroy my career because of one mistake. Her voice echoes off marble walls, but the denial rings hollow against 17 complaints and 6 settlements. Damon addresses her directly, his calm voice contrasting with her hysteria. Victoria, this wasn't one mistake. This was a pattern of behavior that my company will not tolerate. You've systematically discriminated against guests and employees for years. Sarah's voice joins the conference call with updates that chill the blood of everyone listening. Sir, local news stations are en route. TMZ is offering $50,000 for exclusive footage. Legal departments from 3 civil rights organizations have called offering pro bono services to any victims who want to speak up. The young black woman who witnessed the original discrimination approaches Damon with her phone. I posted the video. It's been shared 12,000 times in 20 minutes. People are calling it #Hotel Justice now. Damon nods gratefully. Viral accountability is more effective than any corporate policy. Ryan Chen, still behind the reception desk, raises his hand tentatively. Sir, what about the rest of us? We witnessed this, but... Damon cuts him off gently. Ryan, you tried to intervene. That matters. But everyone who enabled this pattern will be reviewed. Victoria's hysteria escalates. You can't fire me. I have rights. I'll sue for wrongful termination. Damon's response is swift and devastating. Victoria, you discriminated against your new CEO on video with witnesses after 17 previous complaints. Try finding a lawyer who'll take that case. Jennifer's voice returns through the speakers. Sir, I'm coordinating with our legal team. We're prepared to waive all NDAs for previous discrimination victims. They deserve to tell their stories publicly if they choose. This announcement sends shockwaves through the lobby. Several guests who initially supported Victoria now edge toward exits, perhaps remembering their own complicity in past incidents. The tech entrepreneur filming everything whispers to his companion, This is going to be a Harvard Business School case study. Damon addresses the broader implications. Everyone here tonight learns an important lesson about enabling discrimination. When you laugh at racist jokes, when you film humiliation for entertainment, when you stay silent while injustice happens, you become part of the system. Jake Morrison's radio crackles with reports from outside. Sir, news vans are arriving. Hotel parking lot is filling up with reporters. Damon nods calmly. Let them in, Jake. Transparency is how we rebuild trust. Victoria makes one last desperate play. I'll resign quietly. No press, no lawsuits. Just let me walk away. Damon's response cuts through her delusion. Victoria, you lost the privilege of quiet dignity when you made my humiliation a public performance. Sarah's voice provides the final update. Sir, the board has voted unanimously to support all terminations and policy changes. They're also approving a $2 million fund for discrimination victim compensation and diversity training across all properties. The lobby transforms into a newsroom as reporters arrive, cameras capturing Victoria's meltdown and Damon's composed leadership. The young black couple agrees to interviews, sharing their own experiences with hotel discrimination. Staff members who previously stayed silent now cue to provide statements about the toxic culture they endured. Damon addresses the assembled media with the same dignity he maintained during his humiliation. Tonight represents a turning point. The hospitality industry has protected discrimination for too long. Washington Hospitality Group will model a better way forward. Victoria's final moments as a manager are captured on dozens of phones and professional cameras as security escorts her from the building. A bitter irony not lost on anyone present. Her career in hospitality is over. Her actions now part of business school curricula about the costs of discrimination. Ryan Chen approaches Damon hesitantly. Sir, about the rest of us. We want to do better. How do we make this right? Damon's response offers hope for redemption. Ryan, acknowledgement is the first step. Training is the second. Accountability is third. Are you ready for all three? The lobby buzzes with activity as reporters conduct interviews, staff members provide statements, and social media explodes with footage from the evening. Victoria's humiliation of Damon has become her own professional destruction, broadcast to millions as a cautionary tale about the consequences of racism. But Victoria's downfall is just the beginning. Damon has plans for industry-wide transformation. 1 month later, Victoria sits in a sterile conference room facing an employment tribunal, her expensive lawyer shuffling papers with obvious discomfort. Across from her, Damon appears via video conference, flanked by Jennifer Martinez and a team of civil rights attorneys who've taken the case pro bono. The tribunal chair, Judge Rebecca Park, reviews the overwhelming evidence: security footage from that night, 17 previous complaints, documented settlements, and testimony from former employees who finally felt safe to speak up after Victoria's termination. Victoria's lawyer attempts damage control. "Your Honor, my client made an error in judgment during a stressful evening. She's worked in hospitality for 15 years without major incidents." "Counselor," Judge Park interrupts, "we have documentation of 6 legal settlements for discrimination over 18 months. That hardly constitutes no major incidents." Victoria's face crumbles as her legal defense evaporates. Damon speaks from the video screen, his voice carrying the same calm authority from that night. "Your Honor, this hearing isn't just about one employee. It's about an industry culture that rewarded Victoria's behavior for years. She received bonuses for maintaining exclusivity and upscale clientele, code words for discrimination." The tribunal reviews depositions from Victoria's former victims, guests and employees who suffered her racism but were silenced by NDAs and fear of retaliation. Maria Santos, a former housekeeper, testifies through tears. "She called me help for 3 years. When I complained to HR, they said I was too sensitive and threatened my job." Victoria's downward spiral accelerated after her termination video went viral. Hospitality recruiters blacklisted her. Her LinkedIn profile became a case study in career destruction. Divorce papers were served as her husband faced guilt by association. Her suburban reputation crumbled as neighbors recognized her from the viral footage. Judge Park addresses Victoria directly. "Ms. Sterling, do you understand the impact of your actions on the victims who've testified today?" Victoria's response is pathetic. "I was just doing my job, maintaining standards like I was trained." "Whose standards?" Damon interjects from the screen. "Because Washington Hospitality Group's standards include dignity, respect, and equal treatment regardless of race. Those are the standards you violated." The tribunal's decision is swift and decisive. Victoria's employment termination is upheld as justified. Her appeal for wrongful dismissal is denied, and she's personally liable for $50,000 in tribunal costs. Additionally, the judgment establishes precedent for holding individual employees accountable for discrimination, even when following unofficial company culture. Jennifer Martinez provides the final blow. "Your Honor, Victoria has been blacklisted from Washington properties permanently. We've also shared her employment history with our industry partners for their consideration." Victoria realizes she's effectively banned from luxury hospitality forever. The young black couple from that night attends virtually, having become advocates for hospitality discrimination victims. The woman speaks powerfully. Victoria's downfall isn't revenge, it's accountability. Every victim who stayed silent because they felt powerless now knows their voices matter. Jake Morrison, now promoted to head of security after completing diversity training, provides testimony via video. "That night changed how I see my role. I'm not just protecting property, I'm protecting people's dignity." His promotion and Victoria's termination send clear messages about Washington's values. Victoria's final statement to the tribunal reveals no growth or remorse. "I still don't understand why this became such a big deal. It was just one night, one misunderstanding." Her complete lack of awareness seals her fate. The tribunal notes her failure to acknowledge harm caused in their permanent record. Judge Park delivers the closing statement that becomes widely quoted in business schools. "Ms., Sterling, you treated human dignity as a luxury amenity available only to guests who met your personal approval. You learned that accountability is not negotiable, regardless of your position or assumptions about consequences. As the hearing concludes, Victoria exits to face waiting reporters. A final humiliation as she's forced to walk past cameras documenting her complete professional destruction. Her lawyer abandons her at the courthouse steps, unwilling to further damage his own reputation. Damon signs off from the video conference with words that echo beyond this single case. This hearing represents more than one employee's termination. It's a message to an entire industry that discrimination will be met with swift, public, and permanent consequences. The tribunal's decision becomes case law, referenced in subsequent employment discrimination cases across multiple industries. Victoria's name becomes synonymous with the consequences of workplace racism, a cautionary tale told in HR training sessions nationwide. Victoria's downfall triggers an industry-wide revolution that Damon has been planning for years. 6 months after Victoria's tribunal, Damon stands before the International Hospitality Leadership Summit, addressing 2,000 industry executives in a keynote that will reshape luxury service forever. The Victoria Sterling case has become a catalyst for transformation across multiple hotel chains. The Grandview Imperial incident wasn't an anomaly, Damon tells the packed auditorium. Our investigation revealed similar patterns at 340 properties across 7 major chains. Discrimination wasn't a bug in the system, it was a feature. The uncomfortable silence that follows speaks volumes. Jennifer Martinez presents staggering statistics. Washington Hospitality has processed over 400 discrimination complaints since implementing their anonymous reporting system. 17 managers have been terminated. 43 properties have undergone complete cultural overhauls. Guest satisfaction scores among minority travelers have increased 67%. The industry response has been swift and sometimes panicked. Competing hotel chains rushed to implement anti-discrimination policies, terrified of becoming the next viral accountability moment. The hashtag #HotelJustice now monitors discrimination incidents nationwide, with victims no longer suffering in silence. Jake Morrison, now a featured speaker at security conferences, explains the transformation. We rebuilt our training from the ground up. Security officers now receive bias recognition training. We protect dignity, not discrimination. His promotion from complicit enforcer to advocacy leader demonstrates redemption is possible. The young black couple from that night, now married, appears on national television discussing their experience. We thought we were alone. Damon showed us that staying silent protects the system, but speaking up protects future victims. Their advocacy work has helped dozens of discrimination victims find their voices. Damon reveals the broader strategy. That night at Grandview Imperial was deliberately orchestrated. We've conducted similar assessments at 47 properties nationwide, documenting systemic discrimination with legal-grade evidence. The audience realizes they're witnessing calculated institutional change. Corporate boards across hospitality have implemented Damon's dignity audits, undercover assessments that evaluate employee responses to diverse guests. Properties failing these audits face immediate intervention, retraining, or closure. Stock prices now reflect diversity metrics alongside traditional performance indicators. Legal precedents from Victoria's case enable faster discrimination prosecutions. Employment lawyers report a 300% increase in hospitality discrimination cases, with defendants settling quickly rather than facing public trials. The costs of racism now outweigh the perceived benefits of exclusion. Educational institutions have integrated the Grandview Imperial case into curricula. Harvard Business School, Stanford Graduate School of Business, and 12 other programs use Damon's experience as required reading for courses on leadership, ethics, and systemic change. Damon concludes his keynote with the transformation metric that matters most. We've created 12,000 new jobs prioritizing diversity. Revenue at reformed properties has increased 23% as we attract guests who previously avoided our industry due to discrimination fears. The standing ovation that follows isn't just professional courtesy, It's recognition that Damon has fundamentally altered how luxury hospitality operates. Victoria's 20 minutes of racist performance triggered industry-wide transformation that benefits millions of travelers and workers. But Damon's ultimate vision extends far beyond hospitality. He's targeting discrimination across all industries. 2 years later, Damon returns to the Grandview Imperial, not as an undercover investigator, but as the celebrated CEO whose transformation of the property has become legendary. The same marble lobby that witnessed his humiliation now displays awards for diversity excellence and industry leadership. Ryan Chen, promoted to general manager after extensive training and genuine growth, greets Damon warmly. "Welcome back, Mr. Washington. Your usual suite is ready." The interaction feels natural, professional, respectful, everything Victoria's performance lacked that infamous night. Jake Morrison, now Regional Security Director overseeing diversity training across all Washington properties, joins them with his monthly report. "Zero discrimination incidents this quarter, sir. Guest satisfaction among minority travelers is up 89% since our reforms." His transformation from reluctant enforcer to passionate advocate demonstrates redemption through accountability. The young couple from that night visits annually on their wedding anniversary, bringing friends and family to experience hospitality that celebrates, rather than merely tolerates, diversity. Their children play in the lobby where their parents once feared for their safety, a powerful symbol of generational change. Damon walks through the property, observing interactions between staff and guests of all backgrounds. The comfort level is genuine, not performative. Employees smile naturally at everyone, not calculating worthiness based on appearance or assumptions. The culture shift is complete and sustainable. In Victoria's former office, now a diversity training center, Damon reviews the broader impact. Washington Hospitality Group has become the industry standard for inclusive excellence. Their employee retention rates lead the sector. Their revenue growth consistently outperforms competitors. Dignity, it turns out, is extremely profitable. The wall displays framed letters from guests who've experienced the transformation. An elderly black veteran who finally felt welcomed at a luxury property. A young Latina entrepreneur who closed a major deal in the business center. A family of immigrants who celebrated their naturalization ceremony in the ballroom. Each story represents Victoria's toxic legacy being replaced with human dignity. Damon reflects on the psychological journey, from humiliation to empowerment, from individual justice to systemic change. That night's pain has transformed into purposeful action that benefits thousands of people. The personal became political. The local became national. The individual became institutional. He visits the front desk where it all began, noting the diverse staff who now represent the communities they serve. The computer system flags any guest complaints about service quality, with automatic escalation protocols ensuring no discrimination goes unaddressed. Technology reinforces human dignity. Sarah joins him for their daily check-in, reporting industry-wide metrics. "Sir, 17 major hotel chains have implemented dignity audits modeled on our protocols. The Hospitality Equity Initiative you founded has processed 2,400 discrimination reports and achieved 94% resolution rate." The lobby fills with guests preparing for evening activities, families heading to dinner, business travelers working in comfortable seating areas, couples celebrating anniversaries. The diversity is natural, welcomed, celebrated. This is what luxury hospitality looks like when everyone belongs. Damon's phone buzzes with a text from his therapist, Dr. Washington. "Saw your interview on CNN about expanding dignity audits to restaurants and retail. You've turned trauma into transformation. Proud of your journey. The psychological work of processing that night's humiliation has enabled broader social change." As evening settles over the property, Damon stands in the same spot where Victoria performed her racist theater 2 years ago. The space holds different energy now, warm, inclusive, genuinely welcoming. The marble still gleams, but it reflects a broader spectrum of humanity. Should racist managers face lifetime bans? Your thoughts? The moral truth crystallizes in his mind, simple yet powerful. Dignity denied anywhere diminishes dignity everywhere. But courage to confront injustice transforms systems for everyone. Damon addresses viewers directly from the transformed Grandview Imperial lobby. 2 years ago, this space witnessed 20 minutes of racist humiliation that changed everything. Today, it represents what's possible when we choose accountability over comfort, justice over silence. The camera pans across the diverse, thriving lobby as Damon continues. Victoria Sterling thought she was protecting exclusivity. Instead, she triggered the most comprehensive hospitality discrimination reform in industry history. Her 20 minutes of racist performance created years of systemic change. Statistics flash on screen. 17 hotel chains reformed, 2,400 discrimination reports processed, 12,000 diverse jobs created, 89% increase in minority guest satisfaction. The numbers tell a story of transformation that extends far beyond one viral incident. Damon's voice carries the authority earned through struggle. But hospitality was just the beginning. Washington Equity Group now conducts dignity audits in restaurants, retail, healthcare, and financial services. We're expanding nationwide because discrimination exists everywhere, and so does the potential for change. The screen shows footage from recent investigations. A black family denied service at an upscale restaurant, a Latino businessman ignored at a luxury car dealership, an Asian woman dismissed at a high-end boutique. Each incident follows the same pattern Victoria demonstrated: assumptions based on appearance, power protected by privilege. Next month, we're launching the Dignity Challenge, Damon announces. Citizens can nominate businesses suspected of discrimination. We'll conduct undercover assessments and publicly report our findings. Businesses that pass receive certification. Those that fail get national attention and mandatory reform. The camera captures the memorial plaque now installed where Victoria's humiliation occurred. In memory of dignity denied and justice delayed, may this space forever remind us that accountability is not optional. Damon's final message resonates with viewers seeking both justice and hope. Victoria's story doesn't end with her downfall. It begins with our uprising. Every person who's been discriminated against, every witness who stayed silent, every system that protected prejudice, your moment of reckoning is coming. Social media graphics promote viewer engagement. Share your discrimination stories using #DignityChallenge. Nominate businesses for equity audits. Follow Damon Washington for updates on systemic reform initiatives. The movement extends beyond entertainment into activism. Remember, Damon concludes, dignity isn't a privilege to be earned. It's a right to be protected. When we fight for one person's dignity, we fight for everyone's freedom. That's not just business strategy, it's moral imperative. The final shot shows Damon walking through the transformed lobby as diverse guests and staff interact naturally, professionally, respectfully. The contrast with that night's humiliation is complete and powerful. If this story inspired you to demand better, subscribe for updates on our nationwide dignity audits. Because Victoria was just the beginning. Systematic discrimination ends when systematic accountability begins. The screen fades to black with Damon's moral principle. Dignity denied anywhere diminishes dignity everywhere, but courage to confront injustice transforms systems for everyone.